Hello. So I was leaving for work the other day. I got in my truck and put my seatbelt on, started my Spotify or whatever, and I looked out the window and I saw my neighbor who I'd never met before. He was trying to take a big ass recliner up the stairs, right? And, you know, I had a couple minutes to spare. I was on time. So I hopped out of my truck and I was like, hey man, do you need a hand with that? And he was like, yeah, sure. I would really appreciate it. And then, I helped him take it up the stairs and we put it in his living room and he was like, hey, thanks so much for your help. And I was like, yeah, man, no problem. Just, doing a good deed, helping a dude out. And then, I went to work and I didn't really think anything about it. And then the other day I was sitting on my couch and this thought came in the back of my head. I was like, why did I do that? Like, why did I help this dude? I didn't get any money. There was no profit incentive. There was no shareholder value generated. What am I doing? I'm not adding anything to the economy. Like, just being a good person. Why is being a good person like a thing that we should strive for? No, we need money. We need shareholder value. Helping our neighbors is not okay. We're going to talk about tech billionaires today, by the way. Oh, they hate you. They like really, really, really hate you and the way that you live. They hate your children. They hate the fact that you make money. They want to control everything, and they already own more money than God, which is interesting because some of them constantly talk about the Antichrist, and they always seem to try and grift towards Christianity in the right wing of this country, which is super weird, and they are quite literally building like doomsday devices.
I think you would prefer the human race to endure, right? Could the human race survive?
I'm so glad that guy doesn't have any political power and institutional legitimacy in this country. What? Oh, he does. Oh, they're building a AI surveillance system to monitor all American citizens, and they work with ICE. Oh, cool. Let's talk about scale here. Like, I need you to know the difference between a million and a billion because it is a lot more than you probably think. So, if you made $1 every second of your life, how quickly would you accumulate money? Well, it would take you about 23 hours to take in the median household income in this country, which is about $83,000. That's household income, not individual income. Now, in about 14 days, you would become a millionaire. Fuck yeah, good for you. Now, how long would it take you to get to $1 billion? It would take you 31 and a half years to get to $1 billion. That's just 1 billion. I'm not even 1 billion seconds old. And I've been to elementary school, middle school, high school. I joined the military. I went to college. I went to nursing school. I've lived through 2 recessions, a pandemic. I've fallen in love, built a career, bought vehicles, enjoyed hobbies, went camping, all of that life experience. And I'm not even 1 billion seconds old yet. Elon Musk is worth almost 500 times that. In order to obtain Elon Musk's wealth, I would need to work for 8,777,173.91 years, and that's assuming I spend no money during that. So on that time scale, just think about this for a sec. I would have to start in the Miocene era in order to get to where he is today. That is the period of Earth's history where the first deer, giraffes, canines, and bears started making their appearance. There was no species even resembling humans in this era, aside from like very simple primates. Just for reference, like the earliest cave paintings that we know about are about 52,000 years old. The earliest known poor customer review, Nasir, you shouldn't have sold shitty quality copper, is 3,775 years old. So let's use like the average lifespan today. Like the average lifespan is about 78 years old. So we are about 48.39 people removed from written reviews and about 670 people removed from cave paintings and 68,371 people removed from the period in which I would have to start accumulating money to achieve the wealth that Elon Musk has today. So it took 48.39 people to go from leaving poor quality or leaving reviews on poor quality copper to you leaving a bad review on your Amazon auto stroker, but that's not important. So if Elon Musk liquidated all of his assets and spent $100,000 a day, or about 2 Toyota Tacomas, he bought 2 Toyota Tacomas, or 344,827 bananas a day, it would take about 13,273 years before he ran out of money. That is 170.79 lifespans worth of people. On my salary, assuming I never spent money, I got to buy about one Toyota Tacoma a year, or about 190,345 bananas a year, but eventually I would ultimately die. Elon could buy 9,689,290 Toyota Tacomas, or 4,577,223,523 bananas. Using the banana purchasing power index, he has the capacity to buy 24,000 more bananas than me. It's stupid. The point that I'm trying to make here is like scale. Like, human brains are not good at interpreting scale past a certain point because it just doesn't matter, right? Like, let's change from money and bananas and let's talk about like apples. So if Elon's wealth was put in apples, like how many buildings would that occupy? Well, the average surface area of an apple is about 90 square centimeters, and that would take up about 40,932,000,000,000 square centimeters, or about 44 billion square feet. So let's talk about like what's the largest building by square footage? Well, it's the Pentagon. So in order for Elon Musk, if all of his wealth was in singular apples, we would have to build 6,778 Pentagons worth of square footage to store all of his apples. These numbers are meaningless. They are stupid. They are so absurdly large that they don't actually mean anything. And he is worth even more money now than, he was when I actually did the research for this video. He's actually like increased his wealth by like $40 billion. But don't worry, guys, we're going to Mars in 2 years and full self-driving in 2 years, which is a line that I have been hearing since 2016 when I was in fucking high school. So Elon Musk is the world's richest man. I do not know how, because he has absolutely no riz and he hasn't really ever built anything. He just got absurdly lucky and has a fuck ton of money to throw around. But he is the world's richest man by far. He has literally more money than could be spent in a lifetime, like multiple people's lifetimes. He has the ability and the assets to basically improve humanity on a scale that we have never seen before. But no, instead, this year he headed up the DOGE, the Department of Government Efficiency. DOGE is a dead meme and it's been dead since like 2015. I thought it was funny when I was in high school, but I'm a fucking adult now. I have grown up and I have had life experiences, and those have shaped my worldview. Yet this man is permanently middle-aged and permanently divorced. But regardless, he headed up the Department of Government Efficiency this year, and he posted the meme, and it's the meme from like the two consultants from Office Space. Now, if you've ever seen Office Space, you know that those guys aren't like the good guys, because they call in these like consultants and they just start fucking firing a bunch of people, and they cause like the business to go underwater. Like, you're not supposed to root for the consultants in that fucking movie, but media literacy is apparently dead. Now, I'm not a fan of the federal government in this country. Don't even fucking get me started on my least favorite government agency, the Transportation Safety Administration. I will crash out more than I already am. But like, the people that Elon was firing at DOGE were like the dorks that everyone hates in the national parks. Like, who fucking likes park rangers in national parks? What, you like going outside? You like touching grass? What are you, a fucking nerd? You like hiking? Dude, what is wrong with you? Yeah, national parks, they don't generate shareholder value. They don't generate money because, we have to generate money. We can't just enjoy nature and a pretty place to go that is staffed by people that really just love the outdoors. No, fuck them. They're boring. They're nerds. They don't need to go outside. You don't need to learn about how volcanoes work. What are you, a fifth grader? You curious about the way that the world works? Fucking nerd. Okay, now I'm not an 11-year-old in my understanding of the world. I do understand that we have massive spending problems in the federal government, but when Elon Musk says he's going to cut $2 trillion, which is fucking physically impossible, by the way, because most of the spending that the government does is mandated by law. You can't just not spend the money. But I mean, let's talk about DOGE for a second, okay? So, like, who did they actually fire? Well, they fired a lot of boring people, like boring, everyday, middle-income government bureaucrats who just want to, like, make their $70,000 a year, put 20 years in, get their pension. They want to send their kids to school. They want to pay their taxes, be economically productive. Like, these are the people that are getting fired. Like, they're not like these shadowy, annoying, deep state government bureaucrats. Like, no, that's fucking stupid. If you believe that, I'm sorry, I don't know what to tell you, but you need to read a book. They fired about 30,000 people in the IRS. I don't like paying taxes, but I do it. But I mean, realistically, those IRS agents were hired during the Brandon administration so that we could actually audit rich people and corporations so they could pay their taxes. So maybe we could start, reducing the deficit a little bit instead of fucking blowing it up. They fired 20,000 people in health and human services. I talked about that in my RFK video. They basically shuttered the entirety of the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, the CFPB, which was, by the way, created after the 08 recession. So I don't know why that was important, but sounds woke. It's DEI or something probably. They fired 7,000 people in the Social Security Administration, which good. I mean, honestly, who needs the Social Security Administration? Grandma, are you, retired and on a fixed income? Well, I'm sorry, you don't deserve that money. Elon Musk does, because he needs to turn that $498 billion that he's currently worth, and he needs to make it $500 billion. Sorry, Grandma. Some of you may die, but it's a sacrifice that I am willing to make. Elon Musk also fired 12,700 people from the VA, by the way, some of which I actually know personally. I worked with some nurses that went to the VA, and guess what? They came back because they got fired through no fault of their own. Like, these are normal people, right? Like, these are normal, everyday American citizens. They want the same things as you do. They want to, like I said, they just want to pay their taxes and have something in return for those taxes. They want to build a better life for their children. I don't know. It just, like, even from an optics perspective, watching the world's richest man basically fire like a bunch of ordinary people during like a already pretty rough economy, like, I don't know, man. It seems brutal. They also cut research grants because there's transgender mice. They were actually transgenic mice, which are important for scientific research when it comes to like gene therapy and cancer and stuff. Which also woke DEI. Clearly, don't need that. Like, if you have cancer, well, I'm sorry, but it's a sacrifice I'm willing to make because like I said, they got to take that 498 billion and turn it into 500 billion. They cut humanities and arts stuff. They cut programs for school lunches and school mental health. I mean, all things that don't really need to exist if we're being honest with each other. I mean, why would you want school mental health programs? Why would you want addiction programs? Why would you even want things like USAID, which is basically an organization that is a front for the CIA to advance American foreign policy and geostrategic interests in various regions? I mean, listen, I play Hearts of Iron, I play Civilization. Even I understand that USAID was basically just an instrument for exercising soft power in the United States, but they got rid of their soft power. So in Civilization, if you want to go to war with another country, but you don't want to spend the production on building your military, you can just give a city-state a shit ton of money and then levy their military. That is how soft power works. But we got rid of that. So, I'm sure that nothing bad could possibly happen from that, but I am just thank God that the world's richest man is really, really looking out for us to put all of his money into AI research, and then he alters the prompts to basically gas him up or call him Mecha Hitler. It just really depends on what he wants done during the day. Sometimes he wants to be, jerked off, and then other times he just really wants to, really lean into the Hitler stuff. I don't know. I mean, seems kind of weird to me, but I'm just a dude on the internet. But I mean, like, that's not all Doge did either. Like, Elon Musk was in charge of Doge, which was basically just a mechanism for cutting government contracts, which of course he used to directly benefit himself. So like in Doge, he got to slash the budgets of various government agencies that directly do government oversight for his businesses like SpaceX and Neuralink. Like the billionaire who wants to literally put a chip in your head was in charge of the budgets for the things that we're regulating. Like, what are we doing here? He also canceled government contracts from things like the United Launch Alliance, which was a main competitor of SpaceX, and then United Launch Alliance was in charge of providing all the launch stuff for Space Force. Well, he canceled that contract, and guess who got it back? SpaceX. What the fuck are we doing? This is so insane. But Doge isn't the only thing, right? Like, it's not just Elon Musk and it's not just Peter Thiel. Like, these fucking billionaires are literally doing everything that they can to steal as much money from you as possible and then replace you. Like, they hate unions. It's a good thing that the National Labor Relations Board is basically gimped now. I think that is awesome. But I mean, realistically, in 2025, the top 20 tech billionaires added $460 billion to their net worth, like Larry Ellison of Oracle, the evil corporation that basically runs every piece of internet infrastructure a little bit. Like, he increases wealth by 66%. Like, but why? Like, he already owns the entire island of Lanai in Hawaii. Like, what more could you possibly want? And his son is literally like the CEO of Paramount. And now they're talking about doing a merger with Netflix, and his son wants TikTok, which would directly control the algorithm of TikTok. And Donald Trump and Larry Ellison are like homies. What are we doing? That's just another billionaire. But I mean, like, Elon Musk, like, his company Tesla is basically built on vibes, I guess. I don't know. Like, it doesn't really create anything. Tesla sales are down. They have the cyber dumpster truck. But I mean, what are we doing? He said he was going to do like robo-taxi, which is like Uber and public transportation, the worst aspects of both combined into one. But no, you're not allowed to have trains. Trains are stupid. Other companies like Salesforce and Klarna, like, their blueprint is like just growing, developing AI agents to handle customer service, coding, and marketing. So they basically just stopped hiring human beings to do that job. And then they lay people off saying it's because of AI. And then their stock price goes up. What the fuck? What are we doing? What are we doing? And then these profits that they generate from, building things like AI, they go into stock buybacks to artificially inflate the prices of their stock, which is totally legal, by the way. It's not, a multi-level marketing scheme because it's legal. Thanks, Reagan. What are we doing? Okay, but like, seriously, talking about layoffs for things like AI, it went from, AI is going to increase productivity because it's going to, help our human being staff. But then they immediately started laying people off, being like, oh, actually, our goal is to replace them. Haha. What? So they're firing people in this economy, by the way, which is, as I'm told, it is the best it's ever been. Just don't look at like, auto loan default rates or the pepperoni price index or housing costs or, how people feel about the overall economy. If you don't look at that, the economy is freaking great. If you just look at the S&P 500, it's up like 20% this year, which is legit. I mean, yes, it is basically 10 companies driving the entire GDP of the United States, and it's basically just all built on vibes and a circular economy and vendor financing. But if you don't worry about that, then things are fine. Now, Elon is trying to develop Tesla robots by 2027, which, by the way, will 10 million units in 2027? I don't think so, dude. Like, I mean, it's Elon's famous, it's just 2 years away. Like, we've been going to Mars in 2 years for like the last 15 years. I don't know. There's supposedly been full self-driving in 2 years for like 10 years. I'm starting to get a little bit skeptical of him. I'm not quite sure why, but they want to replace not only like white collar laptop class individuals, but they also want to replace like blue collar jobs, like your industry people and people that work in healthcare. They want to replace everything with AI because they really fundamentally do not understand like what being a human being is. It's like, dude, do you have any friends? Do you talk to people? Do you like go to the grocery store and interact with like a normal human being on any day? Like, I know you don't, but most of the people watching this probably do. And I think that most of the people probably watching this are like, yeah, most people are pretty normal dudes, but the people that are running everything are not normal dudes, and they are building things that fundamentally like do not understand what it means to be human beings. The they scrape the internet for artists and to generate art, and they're like, yeah, AI art. It's like, no, dude, it's not art, man. There was no human involvement besides the stuff that you stole from people. What are we doing? Okay, but like, you're worried about AI. Well, fear not. I am sure that the president of the United States clearly understands the economic and social impact of artificial intelligence. And you are right, actually, because in 2025, they gave a contract to Palantir Anduril Consortium, which is Peter Thiel's two major ventures. Palantir makes software that basically collects all of your data, and then Anduril makes drones, which is cool. They formed a massive alliance in 2024 that was solidified in 2025, and then they secured a $795 million contract for the Maven Smart System contract, which integrates AI computer vision into domestic security and border enforcement. And they are building a database of all American citizens to track potential dissidents. That's insane. He also recently just signed an executive order, which, by the way, is not how executive orders are supposed to work. You can't just rule by decree. I wonder if another historical empire started falling apart when it started ruling by decree. We should look into that. It nullified like state level biometric security laws. So now things like these AI companies can sell your facial recognition and behavioral data to police departments for predictive crime. The Department of Justice has basically gutted civilian oversight of these companies and are selling these AI companies are selling predictive crime algorithms to local police, which use historical data to direct patrols and surveillance drones to specific neighborhoods, which create a feedback loop of over policing. They should make a movie about pre-crime and how, trying to police that would be not ideal. I don't know. They should make a movie about that. It can have that guy from Scientology in it. But this is just insane. Like, we have billionaires who are like running everything, and in return, all of our tax dollars go to billionaires and corporations in the forms of subsidies. And what do we get in return? Well, we get like nightmare level AI state security surveillance systems. Like, what the fuck? Okay, but like, billionaires also do unhinged shit. And I want to talk about social media for a minute, because social media is a plight on existence. Back when I was in high school, if you can believe it, just like 10 years ago, when you went on Facebook, you just, you saw what your friends were doing, and you saw things going on that you didn't get invited to because you weren't cool yet, because you were trying to fit in. It was a weird time for me, okay? But I want to talk about social media in the year 2025. So on things like X and Facebook, ran by, Elon Musk and, that one weird guy that used to have the Caesar haircut and then now has the broccoli haircut. I wonder why that happened. They control algorithms of these social media platforms so that they can show you whatever they want, right? It's not, you are not seeking things out. Things are being shown to you. Mostly these platforms are tuned to for engagement. And how do you get a lot of engagement on your platforms? Well, it promotes things that stoke fear, anger, and tribalism. So it basically eliminates any discussions around nuance like taxing the rich, because people don't see things about taxing the rich, right? I bet that this video will be buried in the algorithm because they're boring. They don't get ad revenue. They're lame. So basically, we exist in our own reality holes that these billionaires are creating for us. So like, a working class voter will not see a post about how Doge cuts effectively remove their overtime protections, or the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau. Instead, they're just going to see like 50 AI videos about a woke teacher or an African-American lady that is angry because her SNAP benefits got cut, or they're going to see shit about migrant crime, and it's artificially going to induce a state of panic and psychosis in people, and it's going to make them vote for people who, promise to fix these things that they think are going on, but they're not. It's the algorithms that are promoting these things. And these algorithms are horrendously damaging to people, by the way, because not only do they basically show you what they want you to see, but they also learn from you, like how different political agencies can target you, what you like, what you don't like, what you care about, what you don't care about. They basically these social media companies will compile that data, and then they can sell that data to these political agencies, super PACs, and yada, yada. And then by buying these bundles of data, they can now effectively target people to vote against their own interests. So like a union worker in Michigan is not going to see the same reality that someone that lives in suburban Seattle lives in, right? So the algorithm is going to show like a union worker ads claiming that the opposition, the woke left, is going to ban their pickup truck and they're going to increase their taxes on their small business, while hiding the fact that the candidate that this ad is supporting just slashed the NLRB budget, and now their union protections are effectively gone. Because these are targeted ads, it's really hard for like journalists and government oversight to actually like track this stuff because it's tailored to each individual. As an example, when Elon Musk took over X, formerly known as Twitter, that he literally shifted the algorithm to boost certain right-wing talking points, and the algorithm was literally reweighted to amplify accounts that paid for his $8 a month premium, which would obviously skew towards people that supported Elon Musk. So those talking points got boosted, and then dissenting viewpoints got shadow banned. So things like related to unionizing or corporate tax increase or general strikes, like they get hidden. So people just don't see them. So people think that the overwhelming majority opinion in this country is whatever the woke DEI transgender mice transgender for everyone. They're eating the cats, they're eating the dogs. They think that's the majority opinion when it's not. We're living in a manufactured reality, and God forbid, like, you had schizophrenia, because I can only imagine how fucking terrible this would be trying to keep track of what's going on. It's insane. Now, of course, this would only be really bad if billionaires started consolidating all these media companies into one thing. Oh shit, they have. Like I said, Larry Ellison, his son owns Paramount and CBS, and Jeff Bezos owns the Washington Post. So basically, the media apparatus and corporate interests have now merged into the same thing, even though they have been for decades. It's only gotten worse now. So like when a billionaire-owned outlet publishes a misleading headline framing inflation as a result of high wages, and that is every piece of news media that you consume, you are going to start believing that, yeah, maybe inflation is because of high wages and not because of price gouging. It's not because of stock buybacks. Maybe the economy is bad because we need to cut taxes on billionaires. That is what is being amplified because all these fucking assholes owned the media complex too. It's insane. It creates manufactured consensus that blames poor people for the economy when you are much closer to being homeless than you are to being a billionaire. What don't you understand? That's why I started with the scale. Do you think that you are suddenly going to get 6,778 Pentagons worth of apples because you think that tax increases are bad, because you think that social programs are bad, because you think that you want to abuse poor people? Do you think that that's going to help you? No, dude, it's going to make your life worse. And that is the entire goal. But it's also being enabled by the president, right? Like, we can't really separate the two because they are the same. Now, I'm not going to be an annoying liberal and be like, oh, they tore down the White House East Wing. Oh, no, I'm not going to do that, because I think that's annoying. If you really think that that's the big concern here, well, I am sorry, but there are bigger things at play here. So, if you don't know what I'm talking about, Donald Trump tore down the East Wing to build a literal golden ballroom, and he claimed that the $300 million project wouldn't be paid by taxpayer funds. Instead, it would be from his own money and private donations. Well, then they leaked the people donating to it, and it was like the worst fucking conglomeration of companies that I can think of. It was like Altria Group, which used to be Philip Morris. It was like Lockheed Martin. It was like Palantir. It was like Google. Like, they're just obviously buying access, right? And then after they donated, like, certain companies had mergers go through. That's just corruption. Like, that's blatant and obvious corruption. They think you're stupid, right? Like, they really just think you're stupid. These tech billionaires and tech CEOs think you're fucking stupid. They think you're an idiot, and you're not. But I mean, some of you might be brain broken by the algorithm, which honestly you probably had no control over because your life probably sucks. You're probably living on hard economic times. So when you get off of work, you're just wanting to scroll through some Instagram, get some quick dopamine hits, but you're not actually choosing what you watch. So it changes your brain. That's not your fault, by the way. But like, whatever you, I don't know, dude. I feel like I'm losing my mind here. Okay, I really genuinely and truly sometimes feel like I am losing my mind because it's so fucking obvious what's happening, and it's so like in front of people that choose not to see it are legitimately just blind, and they don't realize that their own interests aren't being provided for. It's very upsetting. And all the while this has been going on, your real earnings have been flat since the 1970s. There has been no real meaningful economic improvement if you're a normal, everyday American, yet the people in the top 1% have only increased their share of the wealth. The top 1.1% of the country in 2022 had 13% of all the wealth, while the bottom 50% had 2.7%, and that gap is growing. So you have, over the course of your lifetime, you have probably watched your rent go up, the cost of housing go up, the cost of healthcare increase, your gas prices have gone up. You feel like you're drowning, and every time you feel like you're about to, maybe be able to climb up one rung of the ladder just gets longer. That's by design. It fucking infuriates me. It's so irritating. But if you're a normal person, that's just the way that you've been living for a while. We can do better, people. We have to do better. I don't exactly know the way to improve things, but things are not great out here if you're a normal person, right? And tax breaks for rich people are not going to help, despite what they might push to you in their news outlets or their social media programs. Your life is not going to get better as long as these people are getting richer. Thanks for letting me crash out with you today. That is all I have.